Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back into my channel. Since this will probably be my final episode on The Last of Us before the part 2 comes out, I kinda wanted to talk about something on the more serious side of things before I get through the final playthrough. Recently, some main parts of the story got leaked, and I've done a pretty good job in avoiding these leaks, but I wanted to talk about the reaction around it primarily on the conservative side of the issue, without spoilers for anyone who might be interested in these kind of like game news things. Without spoilers, there are a few characters that we need to know about. Ellie, who we know so far through the first part, who is the main character alongside Joel, a girlfriend of hers newly introduced named Dina, apparently, and an androgynous villain, essentially, who has yet to be named, at least in my world. So let's get to it. Somehow, YouTube always seems to throw this right wing channel at me called No Bullshit. And funny enough, it seems to be mostly, if not all, bullshit. This is the typical white, whiny, angry incel that does their own research by looking through about page 9 of Google when looking for facts on government conspiracies to prove his own points at Thanksgiving dinner. The typical guy who will surround themselves with other angry incels, such as the website One Angry Gamer, who he frequently references. What is One Angry Gamer, or who are they? Well, to give you an idea, there was recently a list posted there about American traders. American traders? That sounds okay. I mean, are you talking about like the WikiLeaks guy? No, we're talking about people who support Black Lives Matter as supposedly American traders. And I only point this out to show the kinds of people that this guy will associate with. I'll primarily focus on this channel since YouTube seems to think I'm in love with them. And whether I like it or not, he probably does voice the majority of the concerns surrounding that incel-esque community.
With that said, let's get to the article. Here's a one from One Angry Gamer saying, The Last of Us Part 2 leaked footage surfaces and is filled with SJW antics.
Oh, Jesus. SJW antics. What could he possibly mean? Let's explore.
There were two things that we saw that were big warning signs about The Last of Us Part 2 being woke as hell. And the first one came when they released a trailer at E3 a few years back. And that's when we saw Ellie kissing a girl and having this big lesbian romance scene in the trailer, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Like, we're not saying we're anti-alphabet people and being in stories and stuff, but it was so prominent in the trailer and so like in your face, and they had to have this kiss with the dramatic music. It was just really big turnoff and got people worried.
A big turnoff? Why, we can't have that. Can't have that for little old you. Did you not get your daily dose of anime waifus? I don't know if you noticed, but The Last of Us has always portrayed Ellie in this light. If you don't have a problem with the quote alphabet people, then just chill. By your greasy hair, I'm surprised you're not already blasting lesbian porn in the back as it is. Why does her kissing a girl have to make it an SJW thing? Are all SJWs lesbian? Because if that's the case, I'm kind of down.
He has a girlfriend, and then apparently there's like a love triangle too. There's like a guy who's like she likes too, so she might be bi, like another alphabet.
Okay, so bi is also SJW? Like, what are the lines here? I'm a bit confused.
But this part gets back to the L of that alphabet.
Oh, don't say it. The L? You mean
Lesbian.
So I need to be clear. The only reason I'm using SJW and woke interchangeably is because he frequently will on his channel. Watch any video and they basically mean the same thing. If it means I have to be lesbian to be woke, so be it.
It also is kind of a theme of these games. It shows how hard you have to go to survive. And that's where Ellie is kind of becoming like Joel, like they say in this quote. And that's where I could see them kind of leading towards the girl power stuff. This is all girl stuff. And
Girl stuff. Great. Great way to put it. But you just said it yourself, and that's, I think, what is most confusing to me. You have to become hardened in a world like this. A girl, in your mind, apparently is some fragile, helpless entity that clearly needs saving from your plush, well-cushioned arms that give beanbags a run for their money. But in this game, apparently you have a problem with no anime titties Ellie that probably doesn't want to wear a thong while killing people.
so that's talking about basically a scene where these two girls are about to have intercourse.
Intercourse, that's right. So maybe this guy is just alone in this, right? Well, let's listen to another dissenting opinion on Ellie's big gay. This comes from the YouTube channel known as, quote, just some guy.
I also assume they'd play up Ellie's sexuality since they made a big deal of it after the first game's initial release. They put out another short game section where you play as Ellie hiding out with her girlfriend, and this made the rounds as the most important GLBTQ MNOP plus asterisk hashtag up down left right hold A press start moment in gaming history.
Since I have the ability to not be offended by absolutely everything on this planet, I can find some humor in the things he says. But what really concerns me about this statement is just the totality of it all. Everything he says leads me to believe that he takes the members of this community as basically just a joke.
When it's really just an excuse to have two little girls kiss.
If you truly believe that the DLC for that game was just an excuse to see two little girls kiss, you might be a pedophile. This next channel is called Mr. Obvious, and in this video, he will point out the reasons for why The Last of Us 2, even before release, will be complete and utter garbage. Of course, he's going from the perspective of the, quote, disgruntled employee, but as you see if you click in the link below, he proceeds to agree with this disgruntled employee.
To my knowledge, it was a disgruntled employee who was sick and tired of Naughty Dog. He complained that developers on the game were being forced to make a horrible game that was anti-Christian, anti-male, and anti-straight people.
I hope you understand where I'm coming from when I say these videos are just pure incel-y people. Alright, let's move on.
Like, I love Tomb Raider games, but one of the cool things about female leads in a lot of good places, they would still let them be sexy and beautiful and awesome. Like, I don't know why they can't be good looking anymore, but that's the world we're living in today. And I think a lot of it has to do with, honestly, like a lot of these SJWs are just jealous and they don't like good looking girls, so they try to make everyone look less good looking like themselves. Because have you ever seen these SJWs? Have you ever seen a pretty SJW? Like, besides the ones in actors in the media, like supporting them for political reasons, I mean, most of the time they're terrible.
That whole rant to me basically was just, I want my shit. I want my stuff my way. Why can't girls be pretty in video games anymore? Literally, play any other game. Literally, any other game. This is partly frustrating because I really wanted to keep going on this topic. There's so much to unpack, but I need to condense this video to under 50 hours. So I'll just say, I really don't understand this position. Like, in this world that The Last of Us created, do feminized women really survive? In a game where Ellie was almost raped for simply being a little girl, in a game where having kids around is a sign that any sort of empathy is left in these characters, if their character writing is good, then why give a shit about what it's doing to the industry? Remember when games took titties completely out of the equation in fighting games? Me neither. If you want your anime waifus, stop the incel crying and play literally any other game. Now, if the game, which I haven't heard much on the writing, were to shove this narrative down our throats of female empowerment as if a guy wrote it, I could totally agree with this point, but so far it seems like people are just pissed that the females aren't, quote, hot, or that they're into other women. If you think that Ellie making out with a girl is just an opportunity to see two little girls kissing, you might be a pedophile. Or you could come to the perspective of that world that maybe Ellie grew up thinking you had to be friends with girls, made a friend that was a girl, and happened to fall in love with her throughout that friendship. It's not like Ellie was foaming at the mouth to finger blast her friend in that DLC. Clearly it was a learning experience for her. So then she would develop into liking guys, right? No. Let's be real. It's funny to me that SJWs and, quote, the left get called snowflakes all the time. But yet we have some tiny, whiny bigums here crying over females not having these anime titties in this survival horror suspense game. Thank y'all for listening so far. Thank you for all the love and support. Please hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.